In this video, we will go over a few tips for successful titration. Titration is a quantitative analysis used to determine an unknown concentration in a sample using a known concentration. Titrations are used in various industries. For example, in pharmaceutical industry, titration is used for purity analysis of drugs. Or in wine industry, it is used to determine acidity of wines. Titration is also used in wastewater analysis to determine the concentration of certain compounds or metals. The glassware used for titration is called the burette. The burette is calibrated, which allows for accurate measurements. The solution in the burette is referred to as the titrant with known concentration. The solution in the flask is referred to as the analyte with unknown concentration. Let's go over the titration setup. First, the burette must be rinsed at least 3 times with the intended solution to use. For example, if you plan to add sodium hydroxide in the burette, you need to rinse it with sodium hydroxide. This is to make sure there are no contaminants. Use a funnel to add solution to the burette to avoid spills, and always have an empty flask under the burette in case the stopcock is open. Once the burette is rinsed, fill it with the solution and clamp it. Make sure it is standing straight, otherwise the readings won't be accurate. Now we're ready to titrate by placing the flask containing the analyte under the burette. Having a white background under the flask helps with detecting color changes. Before adding any titrant, make sure to write down the initial volume in the burette, and always remove the funnel before starting to titrate. Here are a few tips for performing a titration. 1. Rinse the flask with deionized water regularly. This is to make sure all the chemicals get into the flask. 2. Swirl the flask constantly. You can also use the stirring function of the hot plate to do this. 3. The volume of the burette is read in 2 decimal places. The last decimal place is usually an estimate. 4. The bottom of the meniscus is read at the eye level. The curved surface at the top of the liquid level is called the meniscus. You read the liquid level using the bottom of the meniscus. 5. Add 1 drop or even half a drop as you get closer to the endpoint. 6. The color at the endpoint must stay for at least 20 to 30 seconds. 7. Your first titration doesn't need to be exact. This rough titration is just meant to get an idea of approximately how much volume you need to reach the endpoint. And lastly, titrations are usually performed 3 times to get accurate and statistically valid results. The results should be very close to one another. Thank you for watching.